I ran my first rival adventurer group tonight. It was fairly easy. And I don't mean like it was not complex. Like, it's 4 NPCs that I had to attend to during a fight. But once I had the general premise of them down, they actually helped a lot. And let me get to that in just a moment. But I never made an adventurer group to kind of rival the party before. And I didn't. This wasn't a group that I made like I wanted them to fight the party. This was an adventurer group that I kind of wanted the party to get along with. But at the same time, I don't want them to be someone that the party just goes, hey, solve our problems for us. So this was a group that has their own mission, like a different mission than the parties, and they're doing their own thing. But my hope was that the two groups would get along, right? So I put a couple leads in. There's a character I'd written in. Her name is the Emissary. Okay, and it's a little cliched, but she's some kind of druid that exists between human and animal, like a dryad, a forest creature. Okay, and essentially this adventure group had gathered together, and their goal was to bring her into the Misty Vale, this kind of corrupted land of strange magic. This adventuring party made up of Xander, who's kind of a knight type character, Seraphim, who's also a knight type character, and Northwind, who is an elementalist who summons elemental creatures. These three characters were coming together with the Emissary to bring the Emissary here because they were going to try and set the balance of the world back, since there's a bunch of demons coming into the world. So naturally, they have their own goals and ambitions, but at the same time, their goals and ambitions might align with the players if the players' characters are interested in doing similar things, and it happens to be that they are. So right away, the first lead I planted was with my son's uncle, my ex-brother-in-law. His character, he's been having trouble connecting with the game for a while, but I think it's mostly been because he hasn't been playing with us in person. Playing over the internet is, if you've played over the internet, it's not great. So I laid a couple traces with him, and I mentioned that in a different video, so I'll just cover it briefly. But Robert's character wants to make his wolf pet like a sentient wolf. Like he wants to evolve or transcend consciousness or something. And so I gave him a clue at the beginning of the game session that he'd kind of gotten the scent, because he's like a wolfkin, he's like a werewolf type character. He'd gotten the scent that there was someone in the town who had the ability to, like, whose consciousness existed between like full consciousness and animal. Like it was a brand new scent. He'd never smelled it before. And I led him to this Emissary character, and they have an exchange, and he has the idea he's going to try and talk with her later, but she's going out on a mission right now. So she and the Veilguard are going on a mission out to this corrupted forest to the south of a town about a mile. And my players kind of know that. Mostly Robert's character knows that. My players are having a meeting, they're talking about different things going on, and boom, there's like an explosion. The explosion coming from the south in the forest, right? So my players look, and there's like this rift that's been torn open in space and stuff, where the demonic forces are stretching up through the natural world and colliding, and everything's chaotic, and there's basically a demonic kingdom being built on top of theirs as this tear is existing. So they're running down there. They're rushing because they're trying to stop this thing, but at the same time, Robert's character has additional motives. This lady has stuff he needs. Like, this lady knows how to do the thing with his wolf that he wants, right? So then they're trying to get there, and it was a pretty disparate situation because there's all these demons. There's 7 demons. If you don't know, in Dragonbane, demons are very nasty. They have armor, so they mitigate some damage. They have pretty devastating attacks. Even if you're rolling them randomly on the D6 table, you can very often just launch a character, and that's actually what was happening multiple times, is the demons were just launching characters off of cliffs. So they're super scary, and there were 7 of them, a lot of hit points. So my players were in danger the whole time. But on top of it, they had this rival group, and they'd had a brief exchange with this rival group, just a little bit of an exchange. But they got the sense that I let them know, like, through the week, you've had some run-ins. They're pretty charming folks. Like, they're not like, they're not your favorite people or something, but you get along with them and they seem nice, okay? So what they see when they're approaching is they see Xander, the leader of the Veilguard, who's trying to hold back these demons. They see the emissary, who's been put in some kind of shackles that is binding her. They see Seraphim down at the bottom of this tower, looks like she's dead, and Northwind and her elemental are trying to create a wall of force to keep the demons from crossing a bridge. So there's this terrible situation, and it's with characters that they kind of like they don't like them necessarily, but they kind of, but the first thing that the Veilguard does is essentially try and stop these demonic forces. They're trying they're doing the same type of stuff that my players would want to do. So my players go, our missions are kind of aligned. Robert sees that the emissary is being carried up, and he's going, I gotta stop that, right? My son is doing the same thing, and then at some point, they like, my players actually played really well. They were doing like combo maneuvers, it was really cool to watch, because they've been telling me for a few weeks they want to practice these kind of combo moves while they're in the town with training dummies and stuff. And now this moment comes up where like, my friend in Thailand is just grabbing my son's character and swinging him in a circle and like launching him at demons, and they're knocking demons off cliffs. It was fantastic. It was so much fun. But it was all kind of around the idea of rescuing this rival group, this rival adventure group. And, like, when I thought about making rival adventure groups before in the past, my thought was always like, oh yeah, they're going to be some like shady, like picking the players' pockets or something. But I went, let me try and make a nice group and see what that does. My players were so motivated to save these guys. They were trying to kill themselves to do it. Like, Landon was blowing his willpower. That's basically his magic. He was blowing his magic to try and cast spells to the point where he was actually funneling his own health to do it. And it was my son's characters jumping off cliffs trying to save people. And there's a few times where I'm like, okay, here's the thing: you're going to try this maneuver, and if you miss this maneuver, your character's going to fall, and you're going to fall like 16 meters or something. That's like 8d6 damage, right? So it's a lot of damage, and that's like death in Dragonbane. So anyways, I had never done this before. I'd never made a rival group before, but it was very interesting. It was actually really enjoyable to play too. I had a fun time trying to play these characters out in this battle, which I mostly did narratively. Like, I had in mind they're almost all dead by the time my players are getting there, right? And so then I'm rolling out like the damage they're taking. I'm keeping in mind that Xander and Seraphim are pretty well armored, so if I'm not rolling maximum damage from the demon, they're only taking like 2 or 3 hit points of damage. So they're surviving a bunch of hits, but then like more devastating things start happening. They start falling off ledges, and so it was interesting to put ththese characters in danger, because these characters were trying to save each other, and then these characters were trying to save my players who are trying to save them. It was something about the magic of running this other adventure team that really got me invested in my character, my players' characters being good guys, right? Because they were really trying to be the good guys here, and they were trying to save people. I had a really fun time. This was a great game. I'd like, if you saw our recap video. This is not the recap video. I made a recap video with my son and Landon. If you want to see our recap, this is mostly about this rival adventure group. And I had a lot of fun playing this rival adventure group, and it sparked some new interest. And it also sparked some character depth, where I now got a sense of like how to play some of these characters into each other. So anyways, if you've never run a rival group, I recommend you try. And if you have, I'd actually be interested to hear your suggestions and tips on what to do with them in the future. Because I certainly don't want it to just be, now I have 4, now I have like 4 player characters in the game. Oh no, I don't want that. They're going to be doing their own thing. But anyways, I would be interested to know, like, what have you done with rival groups, and how have you run them in games, and do you have fun doing that? And what have you? Give me your thoughts and your ideas about running these things, because again, this is my first time doing it. maybe I maybe I captured lightning in a bottle and it's not going to be great again. But let me know. I'd be interested to hear your suggestions for how to run a rival adventure group. Okay. All right. That's it. It's like almost 2. I think my eyes look tired. So I'm heading up to bed. God bless you. Have a good night. Have a good week. Merry Christmas. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. God bless you. Bye-bye.